Hello, everybody. Welcome to Run and Code, humor in South Texas law enforcement. I'm your host, T-Bone. With me, as always, my partner, J-Man. J-Man, having my back. How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, brother.
It's good.
It's a beautiful day outside, and I'm not working.
That's always good.
I've had my coffee.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually had 2 cups of coffee and a Dr. Pepper, so I'm feeling good.
Feeling
I'm a
real
little
good.
wired, actually.
Yeah, you're a little caffeinated.
I should probably lower it a little bit, but I can't function without it. So today, J-Man, we're going to talk about our favorite species in the penal system, in the criminal justice system. Lawyers.
Yep, abogado. The abogado, yeah. Yeah.
Let me start by saying lawyers are necessary, and I get it. We all have a job to do. Everybody's entitled to a defense. When I say lawyers, I'm specifically talking about defense lawyers. Okay, defense lawyers. But there are some incompetent prosecutors too. But mainly, at least they're working for the angels. Defense attorneys, everybody has the right to a defense. Absolutely. This country would fail without that premise that you're innocent until proven guilty and you have the chance to defend yourself and tell as many whoppers in court as you want.
Mm-hmm.
If you notice in court, the only one that does not get sworn in is the defense attorney. The judges are sworn. The ADAs are sworn. Any witnesses are sworn. All police officers are sworn. The only one that is not sworn in is the defense attorney. What does that tell you?
You know what? Paying attention to that, I never paid attention to that.
Yeah. There's a reason defense attorneys aren't sworn in. I bet you if you started swearing in defense attorneys, things would be changing because they would lose their license if they got caught in perjury. So I understand the need for client privilege. Totally. I get it. Like I said, I don't have a problem with lawyers, that people get into defense. My issue with lawyers is, and I've actually heard lawyers say this, and no, that's not true. I've heard lawyers say, my job is to get my client off. That is not your job. That is not the job of a lawyer. The job of a lawyer is to ensure that his client receives a fair trial, that his rights were not violated. That is the job of a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
A true lawyer will tell you that. Any law professor will tell you that. Okay, but now it has turned into where they think it's a sacrosanct duty to lie for their client. That's why they don't get sworn in. So they can lie and go, well, that's what my client told me. Okay, but you did know the truth. You have all the documents and video. Cameras have made it harder for defense attorneys. Good. Because now you see what your client really was doing and how he was really acting. And I guarantee you're sitting there with your client going, why did you say that? Because before we say, yeah, he admitted to it right to us. Oh, we don't have camera proof. Well, now we have camera proof, and they're looking at their client like, oh, God, you admitted to everything regesti. I'm going to try to get the video suppressed because it's prejudicial. Good luck with that.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it does where you get the right judge. And they go, well, that does look bad. But he admitted to the crime. That is key evidence. His own admission. Like, I didn't beat it out of him. We didn't tie him down and hit him with a phone book. He admitted it right there on the scene. Hey, man, did you do that? Yes. Well, put your hands behind your back. You have the right to remain silent. You start from there. And then anything after that is admissible, but that was admissible. So I have a problem with defense lawyers because they're good at snowing juries.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell one story 10 different ways, but it's how you present the story. Their client will never look like they did the day you arrested them.
No. Oh, yeah.
They won't be dressed in a suit with a good haircut and maybe even makeup over some of their more prominent facial tattoos, and they'll have taken all the jewelry off, and they'll have clean-cut fingernails, and they'll be sitting there very calmly. Well, that's not how he looked the night I arrested him. When we were fighting and rolling around the middle of I-35 with traffic going around us. Why don't we play that video? And I've had guys that by the time we met in court 2 years later, I didn't recognize him. He looked nothing like that guy. I'm like, yeah, I recognize him. I watched the video and I recognized him, but looked nothing like it. I'm like, no, let's put him back in those clothes.
Yeah.
But appearances do matter. And juries are swayed by appearance because they have nothing else to look at for 8 hours a day in trial than the defendant.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's sitting there being calm and cool and chill and wearing a suit, yeah, that was just a one-timer. Bullshit. Wait till we get to sentencing. They pull out his criminal record for sentencing and then see that was not a one-timer. So because you can't bring up their criminal history during the trial.
Yeah.
You can bring it up during sentencing phase. Now it can be used for sentencing where you can go anywhere between 5 years and 99, depending on what the hell it is, right?
Right.
So it sucks because you can't go, and this ain't the first time he's done it, by the way, Your Honor. This is his 10th. He's not learning. Let's send his ass to prison. Whether you get a bench trial or a jury trial. Honestly, I would take my chance with a bench trial. If I ever had to go to court, I would rather have a bench trial than a jury trial. Because these juries believe anything. I'm like, oh my God, the earth is flat. Oh my God, yeah, here it is. Oh my God.
There's like, it's just, it's kind of funny because lawyers, like you said, everything's a strategy. Everything's a strategy. Everything's like a show. It's like, well, if we can put forth the best show and put our truth out there versus like what really happened with camera footage, body worn camera footage, dash cam, all that things. Yeah, we can make it look like, this. There's no way my client did this. Or maybe we can make the jury feel so sympathetic that they will just give a not guilty when there was actually all the evidence shows that it was a guilty verdict. And it's just it's odd. And sometimes if your prosecutor, I don't know, like
and that's
I recently went through a class where the instructor said the prosecutor is not your attorney, meaning not our attorney when we are up on the stand. We are a witness for the state, and they are the state's prosecutor. So they're not specifically our attorney, so they have really no reason to try to object as much as we feel they should. That's why sometimes if the officer is paying attention, if they're listening to the questions, they can try to prompt the prosecutor to give an objection. And
I've done that before. I had said a prosecutor ahead of time. I said, look, if I say, I'm sorry, I don't understand your question, that's your time to shine, counselor. Pay attention. Be paying attention to what, because if they don't, you have to answer the question.
Yeah.
And you're just like, motherfucker.
And they're ridiculous.
But they're good in how they ask the question. They don't want you to expand.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah.
So I'll get traffic court. I'll just give an example for traffic court. We don't calibrate radars. We test the calibration of radars. But here's an example of a defense lawyer. Sir, did you calibrate your radar that morning? No, sir. But no further questions. You can't just start expanding.
Yep.
The prosecutor is supposed to go, what did you do? I tested the calibration of my radars. But because they go, no further questions. I'm done. Thank you. And the prosecutor doesn't pick up on it. The jury's like, he didn't calibrate his radar. Let's try to dismiss his case. Like, oh my fucking God. Because you can't stand up and go, hold on, counselor, there's more to that. I didn't ask. Like,
yep.
So what I've done is all these JP baby prosecutors, that's what they are. That's where they start. They start their career at the prosecutor's office in JP court, and they work up to misdemeanor court, then they work up to felony court, and then they're second chair, then first chair, So they have to work up. Just like anywhere else, you got to start somewhere. You're not going to walk in off law school and take a district court first chair where you're handling murders and sexual assault of a child and shit like that.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere. You just learn the basics of the court system and how testifying works, stuff like that. So I've trained these baby prosecutors in how that works, how this stuff works, what questions to ask me. Ask me about my training and education history. Ask me about my traffic history. Ask me, this is what you ask. We can chop his knees off right now and put a stop to this shit. But if you don't, I can't voluntarily, or I can't regesti an answer myself.
Mm-hmm.
If he didn't ask it, I can't go, nope, he's going to shut me down fast.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're over there picking your nose, that case is dismissed. Now, the public's probably going, why is it a big deal? All that speeding shit needs to be on their record for a good reason, because they have 10, 11, 12, 13 speeding convictions behind them, and then they kill somebody due to speed, and we charge them with manslaughter. That's evidence.
Yeah.
He has continued to drive this way, and he killed somebody finally.
Mm-hmm.
So now, instead of getting 5 years for manslaughter, maybe he should get 15.
Yeah.
Because he's got a history of doing it. He's been told it's a no-no. He still keeps doing it. That's the point of a criminal history, or what we call a CCH, complete criminal history.
Yeah.
There's a reason we have a history. So it boggles my mind when these judges just throw this crap out. I'm like, okay. We don't need their money. Let me specify. This county is one of the richest counties in the state. We don't need their money. We don't want their money. I want them to fix the problem.
Yeah.
I don't care if you pay or not. If you put a license plate on the front, you get your registration fixed, get insurance, get your license updated. Good, great, thank you. That's all I wanted you to do. I don't care about anything else. I'm not personally going to get mad because you didn't pay your $1,000 in fines. I don't care. I really don't care. And the courts don't care anymore either. I haven't seen a JP warrant in years now. They stop entering it.
Yeah.
What they do is they just put them in the system as an FTA. When they go to renew their license and it gets denied, then they'll finally come down. Yeah. I had court yesterday for a 2-year-old ticket. It was speeding and failed to exhibit a license. And he was only doing 15 over and didn't have his license on him. I just stroked him too, cut him loose. But I think what happened was he went down because I ran him, and his license was FTA. I was like, that's why. So now you got to come to court to get that dismissed or convicted or whatever to get your license back.
Yeah.
So that's why all of a sudden I got a court date exactly 2 years to the date I stopped him. That's all it was. Lawyers have a function. What kills me about people's perception of lawyers is I hear this all the time. My lawyer's going to get me off. One, no lawyer can guarantee anything. A smart lawyer will never guarantee an outcome.
Yeah.
Because you can't.
You can't, yeah.
Let me give you a great example, the O.J. Simpson trial. The miscarriage of the century. Everybody knew O.J. Simpson was guilty. He even admitted to it in a roundabout way after he was acquitted. Because what people don't realize about the law or the justice system is if you are acquitted of murder, you can stand up as soon as the jury reads their verdict and say, I did it, and they will not be able to prosecute you.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He wrote the book about it.
He wrote the book. And he said, if I did it. Dude, you fucking did it. So I actually know the lead detective on that case, Tom Lang. And he told me the whole story. He said there was no other suspect. He was it. That was it. And he had Nicole Simpson or Ronald Brown, I think his name was. No, it was. I feel bad. I can't remember his name. That's horrible. He was a victim too, and I can't remember his name, and I feel bad about that. But it was Ronald and Nicole. And Goldman? Okay, I feel horrible now. He was a victim too. We all know who she was, and he gets forgotten. Fuck that. He's still a victim.
Right.
But he had both their blood on the inside of his Bronco, on his shoes, on his gloves. Remember, he was an isotoner rep. He had the isotoners. He had the commercials.
Yeah.
And he was running before they were even looking for him. He had his passport with him. Like, where are you going, Juice? Oh, you haven't even bought your tickets yet. You're on the way to the airport, but you haven't bought your ticket. Like, come on, dude. Their domestic violence history was so long that when Tom got woken up, because he was the on-call robbery homicide detective, well, we don't realize the LAPD, Robbery Homicide Division, RHD, because every division in LAPD, Rampart, South Central, Hollywood, whatever, have their own detectives.
Yeah.
But then there's RHD, which is in headquarters. Those are the ones that take the high-profile murders. Those are the ones that are going to be on the news, like Robert Wagner,
Okay.
O.J. Simpson. They're going to make the news.
Okay.
They're going to be political dynamite. So they're the best detectives in the agency. He was on call. He wasn't supposed to be. Another detective was, but that detective went on vacation. That detective probably thankful every day he went on vacation. He got woken up, and the first thing when he found out who the victims were, the first thing he said was find O.J. Simpson, because they're very long domestic violence history. Very long domestic violence history. So he said he was running. He goes, where we fucked up was we fucked that crime scene up because officers are coming in, not signing in to the logbook, which any officer, people don't know, for non-officers, when you visit a crime scene, there's a crime scene log. You have to log in your presence on that log.
Yep.
They have to know every person that went in and came out. Officers are coming in without signing in, taking pictures, taking souvenirs. Talk about crime scene contamination.
Yeah.
So that was one of their arguments was that glove was planted by LAPD. Like, well, where'd they get your blood then? Like, come on, dude. Like,
Yeah, but
he had F. Lee Bailey, Johnny Cochran.
Robert Kardashian,
Yeah, he had the dream team of lawyers.
he did.
They were up against Marcia Clark was the prosecutor. She wasn't. She was out of their league. She was, but she was also going through a nasty divorce herself while this was all going on at the same time. So she didn't really have her mind on the case. But they were able to put together and make it about race and make it about everything other than two victims are dead and you killed them. And then Mark Furman didn't help. I don't know if you remember Detective Furman. Guy was smart, but he said dumb shit on the stand and on the scene that other people overheard that he had to answer for in court. And let me tell you, the answers, nothing he said was going to make that sound any better. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful what you say because in court 2 years later, you're defending it.
Yeah.
And court didn't have it for like 2 years. Oh, man, almost 3. I think 93, I think, is when the murders happened. I think 96 when it went to court. Somewhere. It was 2 or 3 years. It was 95 or 96. I remember the day the verdict came out, though. I remember watching the verdict. Not guilty. I was like... But I tell you right now, if he'd have been convicted, California would have burned.
That's true.
My mom was a fire dispatcher. They were all on call. Every single fire dispatcher and police officer in the state were on call.
I bet.
They were. All the riot teams, the SWAT teams were all stood up. CHP beefed up their presence everywhere because if he had been convicted, California would have burned. You know, his lawyers got him off.
Yeah.
They knew these were lies, and they used those lies. Now, if an officer genuinely fucks up, hey, that's fair game. Hey, you screwed up, dude. You had a job to do and you failed, and he found the crack. Well, that's just how the great game is played.
Yeah.
But when your client is so patently guilty, and it's serious, sexual assault of a child, murder, armed robbery, whatever the hell it is, intoxication, manslaughter, which may not sound like a big deal to some people, but if it was your kid that got killed by a drunk, that'd be a big deal to you.
Yep.
And you want to play your little sleazy bullshit defense lawyer games, and that guy gets off. Justice was not served.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a victim, which means there's a perpetrator.
Yeah.
And now, if the person, I'm glad, though, don't get me wrong, I'm glad we had the safeguards that we do. Because there have been too many cases in the past where innocent people did go to prison and were in prison for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, and that is horrible. That's a horrid, horrid thing. But that was back when the rules were not nearly what they are now.
Yeah.
I mean, now, if you're convicted, holy shit, I have anything recent within the last 10, 15 years, I've not seen anyone win an appeal and get it reversed. Because the technology came so far forward. DNA is what really did a lot of that, was people who were convicted of a sex crime in the 70s, and then when they get the original DNA sample and they pull another sample from him and they rerun it, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Yeah.
Hey, we're sorry you did 30 years in prison. Here's $1 million and good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you're in your 50s. Your kids think you're a rapist. Like, you ruined this whole dude's life.
Yeah.
So, yes, lawyers have a purpose, and I get it. What kills me about the process in this country now is, let's say you are convicted of murder. Just garden variety murder. Not okay. I'm making light of it. But then you get appeal after appeal after appeal after appeal, and you spend 30, 40 years on death row. That is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Because, one, you're costing us a lot of money. And if you go through all those appeals over and over and over and over, dude, stop. There's got to come a point where the court's got to go, stop. Okay? This has always been my fix to that, so to speak. Now, maybe that's speaking from ignorance because I'm not a lawyer, and maybe there is something more that I don't know because I am not a lawyer.
Yeah.
You're convicted, state court, fine. You are convicted, district court, 275, whatever, and you are convicted of murder, fine. There should be an independent judiciary. I'm not talking about the Supreme Court, and I'm not talking about the Court of Criminal Appeals or even the Circuit Court. I'm talking about just an independent judiciary and maybe that judicial district.
Mm-hmm.
Look through the entire case, comb through it. Is there anything we missed? Is there anything that doesn't look right? Is there anything that looks wrong? If they pass all that, send it off to the Court of Criminal Appeals and go, we can't find anything. If they say it's good, forward to the Circuit Court. If they say it's good, forward to the Supreme Court. If they say it's good, put that motherfucker in the chair. Let's stop dragging this shit out.
Yeah.
Because you are costing us. So what could take 6 months to be done with it is taking 10, 20 years.
Yeah. Backlog.
There's no reason for that. You know how much it costs to house these guys?
It's a lot.
Now, I'm not saying that innocent people haven't been put to death. There have been, and that sucks, and that's bullshit, and I wish to God it never happened. But those aren't these days.
Mm-hmm.
These days now, with technology and the DNA and all the leeway defense gets and the very little leeway that the prosecutors get, if you get convicted, dude, you did it. Okay? And you did it. It is what it is. If you do that independent judiciary and then send it to Court of Criminal Appeals, then the Fifth Circuit Court in Louisiana, and then the Supreme Court, and they say it's all good, that's it. Call it a day.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that, you'll start seeing a change. Because I could shoot you in the head right here, right now, on camera. Bang! I'm not going to the chair for 20 years with clear-cut evidence in 4K footage.
Yeah.
And it would still be 20 years because I would drag it through and do this appeal, that appeal. And I shot him because I was threatened as a white man. I mean, just whatever bullshit excuse I come up with that some liberal judge somewhere would go, I agree, that makes sense. Let's put a hold on this.
And
Jesus.
And a good argument may not even be the good argument, not even the truth. It could be like truth adjacent. Like there's some truth in there, but not. They just choose to omit certain things.
Now
that could get the video suppressed.
Can there be mitigating factors to any crime? Yes, there can be mitigating factors. Okay, maybe what it looked like was not quite 100%. Yes, he killed him. Maybe it wasn't capital.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was first degree.
Right.
Or maybe it was manslaughter.
Right.
So that's why we have these levels where we can downgrade it.
Mm-hmm.
And go, okay, yeah, he didn't walk up and shoot in the back of the head for no reason. When we watch the video later, this had actually happened right before that. So, yeah, he shouldn't have shot in the back of the head, but that guy wasn't necessarily innocent either, kind of thing. Or like a bar fight.
Yeah.
Like, what people don't realize is you can do a bar fight and you kill someone in a bar fight, that's manslaughter. You're going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're expected to use discretion. Now, if he pulls a knife on you and you hit him over the head with a beer bottle and he dies, that's a different story.
It's different.
But if you're just in a straight up knuckle fight and you hit that dude hard enough to kill him, that's manslaughter. Mm-hmm. You don't get to walk away just because it was a bar fight. No, it doesn't work that way. And people don't understand that. It's not like the movies where you see people get punched in the head over and over and over and they're fine. Yeah, that's not how that works. If you get someone a good shot with a fist in the side of their head, you can kill them.
Yeah.
You can light them out, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're looking at probably 10 years in prison for manslaughter, probably out in 6, good behavior.
Yeah.
But you're still a felon and you killed somebody. Now, is it first-degree murder or capital? No. It's manslaughter.
Yeah.
You didn't do it on purpose, but a reasonable person should know that if you hit somebody in the temple with a beer bottle, you could kill them.
Mm-hmm.
A reasonable person would know that. Beer bottles don't break like the movies think they do. No, they're pretty solid.
They are. It's hard to break a beer bottle.
You've got to actually work for it.
Yeah.
Car windows don't break like that either. You got to work to break a car window. They're designed not to be broken easily.
Yeah.
So it's a lawyer's job to mitigate. If they can't convince the jury that their client didn't do it, then their job is to mitigate why they did it. So they can go, well, look, yes, he did it. I'm not, and you'll see them, and it makes me sick because they'll stand there on the stand. Well, I'm not saying my client didn't do it, but here's why he did it and why he felt he had to do it. And they're hoping 12 people, the jury will go, that makes sense. What I tell people is you're putting your life in the hands of 12 people too stupid to get off jury duty. That's not a comfortable feeling. Give me a judge, please. So we had a local case here, Andre McDonald.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was, yeah.
He ended up getting that downgraded to manslaughter. He murdered her. He had good lawyers.
Mm-hmm, he did.
And there was some other issues I won't get into, but it got knocked down to manslaughter. And then her family just won a $210 million wrongful death lawsuit.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how he's going to pay for that. He's in prison right now. He was discharged out of the Air Force, dishonorably. He was a major. He was dishonorably discharged. All their businesses went to hell. I don't know how he's going to pay it, but, I mean, at least the family's going to get something.
Yeah.
You know, it was a whole sad story. I remember when it happened. I remember we were looking for her body for days and weeks. We finally found her body. I think 4 months later we found her body. I mean, the whole thing was a mess. And he did it right in front of I think her daughter was autistic or something along that vein. Mm-hmm. Daughter was there, saw the whole thing. I mean, that's pretty horrible. And he was arrogant about it because I remember that he was brought in because I was coming in my own prison when they brought him in, and he was laughing. And I was like, oh, really, this dude? And I even told him to his face, I said, you make me sick that you were a part of the same Air Force I was. You know, because that's a blow to me. I'm Air Force. I'm Air Force Blue all the way through.
Right.
And aim high all the way. That made me sick. You remember the same branch of my beloved Air Force, and you just stained it. Mm-hmm. You know, so he had good lawyers. They were able to inject a lot of doubt. So they couldn't quite walk away. But they had downgraded to manslaughter. So he'll be out. I don't remember how many years he got. You'd have to look it up. But it wasn't enough. And for his attitude the whole time, very haughty, very arrogant, I was like, oh, man, that just drove me off the wall. So lawyers have a place. My issue is they step outside of what they think their place is. The law says you are entitled to a fair trial by a jury of your peers. Mm-hmm. And defense lawyers get all evidence, including exculpatory, which means evidence that shows you might not have done it as well.
Yes. Defense
gets everything. Prosecutors have to give up every bit of evidence they got. If you leave anything out, you can get a mistrial, you can get anything.
Oh, yeah.
And we're very hamstrung in methods we're allowed to use. Warrants, you better not misspell anything on a warrant. I mean, it's amazing you get an entire trial thrown out because you misspelled a word on a warrant. Like, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot an extra R on the word warrant. Like, come on. To me, that's chicken shit games. And I was talking to a police officer from another country, and a German police officer. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, German cops are actually very professional. Very professional. But they didn't understand, how can you let a murderer go because you forgot to tell him you had the right to remain silent? Like, they don't understand that concept. Like, but he did it. Yeah, and he admitted to it. Yeah. But the case got dismissed because you didn't tell him he had the right to shut up? Yep. What? They just don't get that. To them, it makes no sense. But he admitted it. You know?
Well, and I think that all started, like just that in general, is that a lawyer made an argument that his client couldn't understand the Miranda warning. So they're going to end up changing it. Don't know when, but it was just a good enough argument.
Well, but they're starting to change in the court system now. The court system's starting to recognize that everybody knows what the Miranda warning is because it is on every cop TV show there is. There was a case recently. I had to pull. I wish I'd have pulled it before we started this episode. But there was a case, and I don't remember what court it was in, what circuit court it ended up in, and they upheld it. They upheld the conviction because they didn't read him as Miranda, and he tried to make that the reason that his confession should be inadmissible. But they were able to. The prosecutor was like, he's a big fan of Blue Bloods and Law and Order, and he's seen the Miranda warning. He knows his rights, and the judge actually said, "No, I agree. He knows his rights," and they let it through. He got convicted. It went to I don't remember which circuit court. And they went through there too, and they said, "Yep, he knows his rights." So now it's waiting to go to the Supreme Court. We'll see what they say. And if the Supreme Court rules on that, you might see a change.
They just set a precedent.
Now it might not be. You might not have to actually do that. Now there's a difference between, in my mind, if you've been arrested at least once, you know your Miranda rights. If you have a criminal arrest record that's 30 miles long, you definitely know your Miranda rights. I don't have to repeat them to you. You've had them repeated to you who knows how many damn times. When you're arrested, you're taken before the magistrate. You've been read your Miranda a million times. That's a chicken shit. That's a chicken shit way out. I don't agree with that. That's chicken shit. Because if you say, "Yeah, I killed her. I stabbed that bitch because she wouldn't shut up," that should be admissible. I wasn't beating her with a phone book to get that answer. He admitted it. It's there. Yes, I agree that everybody's entitled to a defense and everybody's entitled to tell their side of a story.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have a problem with is if you admitted this to me because I made the mistake of asking you an interrogatory question without reading your Miranda and you admit to having killed somebody, you should not be able to walk away from that. So pray to God we have 10 tons of other evidence. Praying to God that's not the only evidence we had was his admission.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part. And what kind of justice is that for a victim? So as cops, we need to be better.
Yeah.
We really do need to be better as cops. We need to really toe the line. We need to do it correctly. Read in the Miranda. Don't ask them interrogatory questions without Mirandizing them first and making sure they understand the Miranda warning.
Mm-hmm.
If they make a registized statement, shut your fucking mouth and let them talk.
Yeah.
Don't go, "Hold on, I can read you something." No. Oh, no. Shut up and let them talk. But don't prompt any more answers.
Yeah.
Because now you just turned it into an interrogatory.
Yeah.
So just keep your mouth shut. Let them talk. "Yeah, I killed her." "Yeah, shut up." "No, and I did." And then she wouldn't shut up, so I stabbed her again. "Dude, whatever. You didn't do that." "Yeah, I did. And I can tell you where I hid the knife." "Oh, shut up, fuck." "Yeah, it's right over here." Let them fucking talk. But as soon as you ask a question.
Yeah, games. Yeah. Now you gotta.
That's when you need to go, "Hold on, I need to ask you something. I need to read you something first."
Yeah.
Read in Miranda. "You understand that?" "I know my rights. I just want to tell this story." "Oh, we're good now." You said you know your rights. So there's games that we got to play, but we have to play inbounds, and lawyers and defense lawyers don't. Prosecutors are very hamstrung by rules. Defense attorneys aren't. The doubt sways towards the defendant. It always has.
Yes.
And I agree with that to an extent, because your rights should be protected, to be damn sure, because maybe you didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we can, that's why exculpatory evidence has to be included with the full disclosure.
Yep.
But it just drives me nuts when some wild juror gets hair up his ass and goes, "I don't like cops, so he was innocent."
Yeah, so much for voir dire.
Yes. But remember, you're limited in how many you get.
Yeah.
You can't voir dire 200 people. You get a limited amount of voir dire. You get like 12, you get like 12. Now, pick wisely. And you're like, "Shit." That one looks like he's building a hangman's noose all weekend. That one attends AB rallies, So yeah, it's a tough game. And there's a great book. Have you ever read John Grisham, A Time to Kill?
No.
They did a movie about it. It was Matthew McConaughey and Samuel L. Jackson, but the book was far better. But they talk about that jury selection. In that book, they actually describe how they do a jury selection, how they do a voir dire, and the factors they looked at when they wanted, who they wanted off the jury, who they wanted on the jury, how they wanted to pick a jury. It was actually pretty revealing. Again, John Grisham is a lawyer. Mm-hmm. He was a criminal lawyer for years, so he knows what he's talking about. And you can tell when he writes, you're like, oh, that's dirty. But that's how they did it.
Yeah, and it's just...
this is also 80s in the Mississippi, as the book is set in too, so it's still Mississippi.
It's no offense to Mississippi listeners.
I got nothing against Mississippi. I have nothing against Mississippi, but every other state you need letters. There you just need sounds. M-I, crooked letter I. Yeah, everywhere else is M-I-S-S, I-S-S-I, P-P-I. You guys, crooked letter, humpback. Yeah. I'm just saying, you didn't get the whole alphabet in Mississippi. You're missing some letters in Mississippi.
But yeah, it goes to show you, like you said, a lot of legal tactics, legal games, and a lot of it sometimes just feels more like a performance than an actual.
It is theater,
and then an actual. This are the facts that we're presenting. This is the argument against the facts. Now, who do you believe? That type of thing.
Did you ever see the movie The Judge, Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall? Robert Duvall plays a judge in that movie, and he was telling a defendant, and he goes, "This is the last great cathedral of truth and justice." It's courtroom.
Yeah.
That's probably right. It really is. But the problem is, truth and justice departed ways a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
The scales of justice are way woefully tipped badly, and justice is not blind any longer.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, justice is not blind. If you want to have a true trial, you don't release the names of the jury. You don't show them the defendant at all. Don't show him his face, his race, his age, gender, nothing. And just the facts. No emotion. You'll see a change in prosecutions real quick. You'll see a lot more guilties. They want the emotion. They want them to pity. Oh, look at my client. He never had a chance from the start. When he was 5, his dad ran over his cat, and so now he likes to, kill people. He still knows right from wrong.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, doing M'Naughton ruling, find out if he knows the difference between right and wrong. And M'Naughton ruling, I should probably explain what M'Naughton ruling is where they find out is he criminally insane? Does he understand the difference between right and wrong? At the time he committed the offense, did he understand right and wrong?
Mm-hmm.
So that's an M'Naughton ruling. And if he didn't, and there's a misconception there. People think if you're declared criminally insane or you're declared insane, you just walk. No, that's not quite how that works. You're going to go to a state hospital. You're going to go to like SASH.
Yeah.
You're going to be there a while. If they declare you fit to stand trial, then you're going to stand trial.
Yeah.
Now, they may mitigate the charges and knock it down from murder to manslaughter or sexual assault to maybe indecent contact or something.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean you're walking away scot-free. You don't go, we find you mentally incompetent to stand trial, you're free to go. No. That's movie shit.
Mm-hmm.
So there is still a victim and there still must be justice. So but there's mitigating factors, right?
Right.
Give you a great example. Let's say you drink 12 beers. You just drink 12 beers. You get into a car, drive down the road, cause a crash, and someone dies. Clear cut, intox manslaughter, right?
Yep.
But now let's say you go to the same party, but this time you smoke weed, okay, or what you think is weed. They're passing around, you smoke the weed. What you don't know is that weed is laced.
Yeah.
So it wasn't straight marijuana. Now, obviously, we don't want you to drink or we don't want you to smoke marijuana dry. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. But they laced it, PCP or something that really messes you up. You drive down the road and kill somebody. Now, you did not knowingly ingest the PCP. You thought it was marijuana, which you are used to smoking, and you smoke it often enough to where you know the effects and what your body can handle. Of course, these are the same idiots that think I can drink 12 beers and drive. I'm fine. I know my body. But we all know marijuana doesn't treat you the same way as alcohol does.
Yep.
And you're blasted out of your mind. You kill somebody. Yes, we're still going to charge you right then and there with the intoxication manslaughter and we get your blood back, high levels of PCP, which is an illegal substance, period. It's a completely banned substance. You can't even get it.
Mm-hmm.
Where these people still get PCP, I don't effing know. What is it, phencyclidine phosphate or some shit like that? But it's completely banned. It's been banned since the 60s. But now we have mitigation. So now the defense lawyer's job is to mitigate to the jury. Like, look, yes, he smoked what he thought was weed. He smoked marijuana. He didn't hide that fact, but he did not know and was not aware that there was PCP in this marijuana.
Yeah.
So people, the jury, search your hearts. He didn't mean to do this. It wasn't done intentionally. Someone's still dead, right?
Right.
But now we go from clear-cut intox manslaughter because he drank 12 beers and got into a car to, well, would that have happened if he hadn't been dosed to PCP? That's the doubt.
Yeah.
And that's where the doubt gets thrown in.
Yeah.
So do I think that's necessarily a bad argument either? No, I don't. Because we've had one of those. And the kid had no idea he'd been dosed. What do you do in that case? He was not even aware he was taking that drug. He thought he was smoking weed, and it was PCP. So now how do we hold him responsible?
Yeah.
It's like, well, shit, someone's still dead. And, yeah, the family's going to be pissed. But this kid didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a tough one. And that's where it gets a little tougher.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't have sympathy for defendants. It depends on what they did. If you're a one-time regular Joe and you killed somebody in a bar fight that went wrong, hey, that could happen to any one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Or you had too many drinks, you killed somebody, and you've never been in trouble before, that sucks. And I got a lot of sympathy for you, but someone's still dead.
Yeah.
And there must be a penalty, a consequence, justice for the family. There's a lot of factors in the law, and that's why law school isn't 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
So, but my issue with lawyers is just the little tricks they use to confuse you on the stand, and they'll even say, this is, and I've seen this, lawyers that have you on the stand. You're the officer, right? Ladies and gentlemen, the jury, there's nothing. He's like, this is a good officer. He's a good officer. He works his ass off. He tries the best he can, but he just messed up. You're like,
yeah.
You're looking over the jury
it's the backhanded compliment.
Yeah. Because they don't want to bash you, because there might be some people who are pro law enforcement in the jury, but he's human. He made a mistake. You're looking at the jury like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. But you can't say that. You can't go, he's full of shit. You just got to sit there and go. And you don't want to, it's hard not to get angry on the stand. You want to fire back, but you can't.
You got to compose yourself.
Yes, counselor. Yes, sir. No, sir. What sucks when I start that yes or no, sir shit. You're just like, God damn it. I know what you're doing with this, and I can't do anything to stop it. And the prosecutor doesn't have enough to object, so they got to let you do it. And you're just like, God damn it. Just answer a question. Ask me a question that I can answer. Because your knuckles are white. You're under the table just like, oh, if I ever pull you over, you're so fucked. You're going to get every ticket I could dream of. I'm going to inspect your fucking car, the tread on your tires. Guess I'm going to call a tow, sir. You got bald tire on the left. Or I can make you in your $4,000 suit change that tire on the side of the highway. Oh, can I help you? Well, no, I don't want to get dirty. Nice suit. What is that, Armani? Anyway, hey, when they're done, you got grease all over you, counselor. Are you going to courthouse? Oh, that sucks. So I think we beat that horse enough. I'm not a fan of defense lawyers. They have their function. I just wish they would change the rules a little bit to kind of level the playing field and make defense lawyers swear in so that they commit perjury, they lose their bar card, and you'll see a change in what they do for their client. So and I know lawyers. I've had conversations with lawyers. They tell me outside in the hallway after the trial's over, my client's a dumbass. Yeah, I know. I arrested him. It is what it is. So that's all I got in that subject today. J-Man, do you have anything to add on the subject of the most endearing and loved part of our criminal justice world?
All I can say is it's really good to build logic and reasoning skills, and it allows you to actively listen. You will learn how to actively listen if you get torched on the stand.
Oh yeah.
And you won't do it again. That's for damn sure.
The biggest problem I've seen is officers have a hard time saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just, if you don't know, say I don't know. If you don't try to make up bullshit, because then they go, are you sure about that? Because pull out the manual. Oh, here's your training records. You signed, you took this class, and you took the test. And you're like, shit. So then you look like a giant idiot. Now you lost all your credibility, because that's the whole job of the lawyer is to make you lose your credibility on the stand. Mm-hmm. So there's a law professor who once said, I read it somewhere. He said, if you have the facts, pound on the facts. If you have the law, pound on the law. If you don't have any of it, pound on the table. So basically making a histrionic ass out of yourself until they get tired of it.
Yeah.
So brothers, sisters, good articulation is the key to saving your ass. Mm-hmm. Write it down now, because you can't do it later. Once you submit that report, that's it. And even doing a supplement can be touchy unless you have a valid reason why you had to do a supplement. Yeah. So I misspelled methamphetamine, fine. Fine. But if you start adding crap in there, be careful doing that. So It better be on camera. So brothers, sisters, keep yourself safe. Our loyal listeners, we appreciate your support. Thank you very much for you made us number, I think we're 15 in the U.S. right now. At least one of those. Yeah, so we're climbing, and that's the support of you guys, and we really appreciate it. Thank you. We're still like 200 countries, or not 200 countries, like 20 countries and like 300 cities or something. So we're
getting out there.
Yeah, we're getting out there, and we do appreciate that support. So if you want to see what we look like, not just what we sound like, make sure to check out our YouTube channel, Runnin' Code, RUNNIN''code on YouTube. And we'll have all our episodes audio. We also have them by video, and you can start watching those. So, J-Man, you got anything to add?
Nope, all good.
Everybody have a fantastic week, brothers and sisters. Be safe, and we're out of here.